Support for KNVC and Nevada Capital News is provided by PLAN, the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. PLAN is a 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan organization using research, public education, leadership development, and grassroots organizing to improve the quality of life for Nevada citizens. For more information about the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada and their members, visit www.planevada.org.
This is KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City Community Radio.
It's time. Finally, a show for you. A once-a-week extravaganza, giving you the weekend's movies, the week's cons and entertainment events, what is worth watching on television for the week, the weekly comic book, novel, game, and collectible releases, as well as entertainment news and information. Everything you want, everything you need in pop culture. It's Pop Culture KABOOM with your host, Jimmy Jones.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to the number one show on KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City, Pop Culture KABOOM's radio show. I am your not-so-humble host, the aforementioned Jimmy Jones, and I, as always, have a packed show full of all kinds of pop culture, entertainment, news, and information for you. Hopefully I can get to everything, but with only 2 very short hours and in-studio guests this week, it isn't guaranteed to start or be a part of the conversations this evening about the 7 pillars of pop culture entertainment. Call 775-515-4141 or message me through the Pop Culture KABOOM Facebook page. My special in-studio guests are none other than the hosts for Paranormal Nevada TV show on KTVN Channel 2 every Saturday night at 11:35 p.m. Mr. Richard Sloan, Ted Moore, and Junior Lopez, and hopefully we'll be joined by Cindy Callahan later on. They will be with us the entire show, talking all things paranormal Nevada, Nevada folklore, and of course things that go bump in the night. And since they will be here the entire show, you can call in and ask them about their ghost hunting adventures, their thoughts on things like the Pyramid Lake water babies. Have you guys talked about that at all on your show yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Heard about it, though, plenty.
So is it something you might look into with Pyramid Lake?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Okay. And with all of that, also you can talk about, tell us about your personal ghost encounters. And yes, sir. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Oh, that's my mic. No wonder. Well, that's kind of odd that I'm not coming. There we go. That'll work. Now everybody can hear me without an echo chamber.
You sound beautiful, Jimmy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you can call in about your own personal ghost encounters if you want to do that. 775-515-4141 during the show, or you can just send me a direct message through Pop Culture KABOOM's Facebook page, and I will ask them your questions or tell them about your story and see what they have to say about it. I will, of course, deliver all of this to you with my endearing and lovable style of satirical and comedic commentary to keep you entertained. After all, that is what entertainment is all about, right? Keeping you entertained. The voice you'll hear from time to time, like you just did, hopefully, is none other than Pop Culture's KABOOM's one and only producer extraordinaire, Mr. Bill Mott. And how are you, sir?
I'm good. I can't see you, Jimmy, but of course I know you're there.
Awesome. So, interesting, last week, we haven't seen each other since last Sunday. Last week I was in California doing my guest spot on Creature Features TV show. So that was lots of fun. So it's scheduled for my guest appearance will be September 28th, Saturday, September 28th. It'll be on 50-plus television stations worldwide. So
how was the mansion?
It was actually a lot bigger than I actually thought it was going to be, quite honestly. I thought it was going to be a little bit smaller, but it wasn't. It was nice and spacious. It wasn't echoey either, which was kind of weird.
And you didn't stay at the mansion, though?
No, I had a hotel room in town. Are you kidding? So, but yeah, it was.
Did the girl
Tangela?
Yeah, Tangela. Did she speak with you?
No,
she did not speak.
No, it was like when they were in here in studio. She didn't speak at all, but she didn't draw pictures this time because I guess there wasn't a dry erase board around. So, oh well.
Yeah, but she had more visual things to work with there, being television.
True.
What she must have done some amazing things, though.
Yeah, well, she had some props, I guess. Somebody sent them in some stuffed toys, or sent her some stuffed toys, so she got herself some stuffed toys. But
lame. Get her dry erase boards.
Yeah, so she could draw her own pictures next time.
Yeah, I think she needs to improv.
Yeah.
I think the improv kind of sharpened her skills a bit here.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's going to be some other things going on as well, because apparently this coming Tuesday at 7 o'clock on KNVC right here on 95.1 FM, I'm going to be a guest on Studio C5, and I'm going to be talking with them from 7 to 8 o'clock about old or classic science fiction films.
Now, I please pick out some good ones.
Well, they're talking about the Ed Wood stuff, like Plan 9 from Outer Space. I would. Like Forbidden Planet. I really that is probably one of my favorite. I got you guys in the studio. Are you guys big sci-fi buffs, Ted?
I'm not really.
Depends. I'm very choosy when it comes to sci-fi.
How about like old school?
Yes, now you're talking.
So like Forbidden Planet?
Yeah.
Okay. Richard?
I like AI movies, but not necessarily old movies. Like AI was one of my favorite movies. So
The Steven Spielberg.
yeah,
I got stories about that one. I thought I went into it thinking it was going to be like really good. That was the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life.
really, I love it.
Yeah.
Every time I get sick, I watch it.
I watched it in the theater. When I went out to my car, I was like, I'm just going to drive off somewhere.
Yeah.
Find a cliff to go off of. That movie was so depressing. So, how about you, Junior?
I don't like it. I was never a big fan.
Of science fiction?
Yeah.
At all?
No, they're just boring.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, it depends on what movie you're watching. I mean, they're
Yes.
not all the same movie.
Yeah.
Well, they all look the same to me. So
Well, stereotyping the science fiction. Okay.
sorry about that.
So, Richard,
You must have been a real fun kid.
Maybe.
See, I'm more of the style of like Saturn V. Remember that with Farrah Fawcett and Kirk Douglas?
No, I think that's too old for me too.
Wow.
I know. I'm like, I don't even know that one.
What?
I don't even know that one.
Even it had Harvey Keitel in it.
I know Harvey Keitel.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay, we've just been kicked off the radio now.
Man, okay, this is going to be painful. No. Well, Forbidden Planet. You've seen Forbidden
Yes,
Planet. Okay.
yeah.
Well, Leslie Nielsen. You all know who Leslie Nielsen is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, you're probably too young. You only know him from what, like the
24.
Smoking Gun and all that stuff. Yeah. But believe it or not, I actually, when I watched it, because I was, like all the Smoking Gun stuff, that he did and Airplane and everything.
Yeah.
I watched every time he spoke during Forbidden Planet. I thought he was going to do a straight man joke or something every single time he spoke. I was waiting for the punchline. I'm like, where's the joke? But it never happened, so it was a little depressing.
So that's a serious movie for Leslie Nielsen.
It was, believe it or not. And
I couldn't watch it either.
But he still had white hair, and it was like 1950 something.
Right.
I was like, did he ever have like normal colored hair? I don't know. So
But how could you not like Twilight Zone? Even the old school ones like William Shatner.
Oh, yeah.
And like you remember like Black Hole, like that show.
oh yeah.
Black Hole.
Did you ever get into like Twilight Zone or anything?
I don't know that show.
You don't know Twilight Zone? Wow.
Twilight Zone. Well, Twilight Zone's not really science fiction.
So where'd you get him anyway? Did like on one of your ghost adventures he was chained up in an attic or what?
That's exactly how we found him.
Take it, Richard.
Outer Limits, though, was science fiction.
Outer
Yes.
Limits was great too. That one was. You never heard of the Outer Limits either, have you? Oh man, this is going to be a long show for you. So anyway, we'll be here all night talking about all kinds of things, but mainly since you guys, this all started with you, Ted, right?
Yes.
And how did you get into paranormal investigations?
I've been into it for about 10 years. In all honesty, I don't have any great answers for you. Was the original Ghost Hunter show. Kind of fell in love with it at that time, and it just started out of mere curiosity, started doing it. I've known Richard for a really long time, so, mingled with different groups around town. Just wasn't my cup of tea. So I think the best way to do paranormal investigation is just to get together with your friends and do it. And I would recommend that for anybody getting into the paranormal. Make sure you like the people that you're doing it with. Before paranormal, me and Richard have known each other since the time of dinosaurs and dirt.
Yeah.
forever.
So you got an autographed copy of the Bible and all that stuff?
We do.
All
We
right.
do. It's great. Yeah. You know, it's just, we have fun doing it, man. We just, right from the get-go, we just got along. It clicked. And the marriage was made from there.
That's it. So he was the ghost hunter first, and then I'm production junior, and so Ted contacted me and was like, "Hey, I got this ghost things we're filming, and can you help me out and see what we can do with the video wise?" And we jumped in on it and started going down and kind of filming with him, and it just sort of took off from there.
Now, was there any level of skepticism going into it with, ghost hunting?
None?
Shaking your head doesn't really translate well on radio.
No. They needed someone to hold the camera, so I was available, and I think I'm having a great time doing it.
What do you think about when you first started? Were you believing in the ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always believed it.
Same. I'm always believed in that thing, but I wasn't sure. Like, I thought it was my luck. I'm going to get out there. I'm never going to see anything. I'll never hear anything or feel anything. It'll just be my luck. But after doing this show, I'm solid. I'm a believer.
Okay. And there's no special, kind of a course or anything like that? Or
Ted's crash course.
Besides Ted's crash course in paranormal investigation?
It's a lot of live and learn. We got lucky. Our first episode was actually right down the street at the Carson City Trend Museum. And that place was insane. It was insane. And the level of activity there was just kind of undeniable. We had everything from loud screams that we heard to being touched. To just getting some phenomenal evidence on camera. So if you had any doubts, it kind of ended at Carson, and you thought, what the heck is going on here?
Well, I know that, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the state, but there's all kinds of different paranormal type stuff. I mean, you got Virginia City. There's documented paranormal activity up there. And just out of curiosity, I noticed that because I like going around cemeteries and graveyards and stuff. I noticed when I was walking around at the Virginia City graveyard, there's maybe 12, 14, or close to 20 gravestones where they're all passed away on October 31st. Any idea what's up with that?
Bad luck.
Because there's no explanation for any of it, and I couldn't find anything why all of a sudden there was this epidemic of death on
I am
on
not
Halloween.
familiar with that.
Yeah, there's.
Yeah, I could show you all the tombstones because I was fascinated by
So,
it.
they're all, lined up?
No,
everybody?
they're you have to look around, but when you're going around the graveyard, you'll see October 3rd, they died on Halloween. And then you walk around a little bit, this guy died on Halloween too. Then you go back and the same freaking year. And then you remember the date, and then you kind of find more.
That would be a big thing is when the date was. If they all passed away, you could have had something. I mean, they didn't have ibuprofen like we have now.
True.
So, I mean,
Could
it could
have
have
been
been
a plague.
Yeah, some plague that went through.
Mind collapse or something.
Yeah.
But they all on the same day. That's pretty.
There would be
It
some kind of
happens.
record about it, though. I mean, but there was. I saw nothing.
Now I want to look into that. But
Yeah, me too.
I know that.
Yeah, if I have some free time, I'll take you guys up there. I'll point them all out to you because it's really interesting, weird. And
I don't like that
interesting at the
cemetery
same
up there.
time.
I mean,
You know?
did you get a weird vibe? I mean, you almost feel like you're being followed home after you visit. There's a weird vibe about the cemetery up there. At
No.
least that's what I got.
Does is there a level of clairvoyance or empathy or being empathic at all that helps with ghost hunting?
There is. I mean, I'm not. At least I don't think I am. I can't feel stuff. I'm just okay. But Cindy, she would be that for us. I think Ted has a lot of natural to that. Junior actually the same way. And I think that does help. You can get a sense of kind of what you're looking for better if you can feel it.
But you feel uncomfortable when you go.
I do. I get kind of creeped out sometimes, but I don't know if that's just because we're in old spooky buildings or scary locations in general, as opposed to
with the lights out and everything.
yeah, the lights are out, it's dark, and you start hearing stuff, and my mind starts going. I get scared.
I never get scared. I'm solid as rock.
That's sarcasm because I specialize in sarcasm.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's my second language. So
Well, you're talking Virginia City and the level of activity. I couldn't agree with you more on that. And part of it that I'm wondering is if it's like the mecca of paranormal because you have all the right elements. I mean, think of all the minerals, everything that's under the ground there. to even like the environment with thunderstorms and the activity that we have. You just have to wonder if it's like the perfect storm that's creating this activity, because there's something special about Virginia City. I do personally think that it's just unmatched compared to other places where there's certain places where you have hurricanes and there's places where you don't, because you just don't have the right elements. And Virginia seems to have all the right elements, and I think that could be because of what's under the ground and what's above the ground.
Yeah, because, well, it's not just there either. I mean, like Carson City, we have the Ghost Walk.
Yeah.
That's and they go around, and I don't know if have you guys ever been on the Carson City Ghost Walk?
No.
I know what you're talking about.
Where they go to like all of the like we broadcast out of the Adams House, which I think should be on the Ghost Walk, but like they go to the older buildings and they like tell about the history of the building and what creepy stuff happened there or tragic stuff that happened at the locations. Right. And so, but that's why I think this place, because ever since I've been broadcasting from here, because I started Bill and I started doing this show in November. And so I've always thought, kind of jokingly every week, or just about every week, that when something goes wrong, that it's because the place is haunted, because it's it's a historic building.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my joke about it. But like weird stuff, like the phones will act weird sometimes, or the board that over where Bill is, that'll act weird sometimes. And I know that Joe Bly, who is the program director, has mentioned some other technical issues. And so is that kind of like a staple of kind of like a haunting or anything like
Absolutely.
that? Is electronic interference?
Absolutely.
Any idea why there's electronic interference when it comes to the
We get
spiritual
it
realm?
Yeah, we get it a lot on investigations. A lot of the most experienced things that you'll see is your brand new batteries draining on cameras, equipment, stuff like that. And one of the theories is that it's drawing the power to manifest itself. So you'll have spirits that will interact with that and try to draw power from it to manifest itself, communicate with you. Yeah, that would be the main one. Another one that would be a theory of mine is that you're in a radio station. You have different frequencies and different channels on there, and it could be trying to draw. I mean, one thing that you have is an assertive voice. If there's a spirit here, they might be trying to communicate with you and trying to find that right channel.
So I shouldn't bring in a Ouija board or anything like that ever.
I
That
would
is
do
your
it.
call on that one.
I wouldn't do that.
I'd absolutely do it. Why not?
Turn all the lights out, just put some candles out, and
See what happens.
Broadcast with a Ouija board.
We have 2 hours. I just went to Walmart. Here we go.
So you were going to say something, Junior, but you came.
No, I just thought that you shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't at all. Oh, okay.
You don't want to play with them.
No, that would not be good. But we got 3 minutes until our very first break. So I want to touch on the news. How about you, Bill? What do you think about all of this so far? Bill?
He's been possessed.
So
He's been taken to the other side. He will never be seen from again.
we lost Bill. Okay, I'm going to get into the news. So without any further ado, here's your news brief for the week. And remember, your thoughts and comments are welcome. So call 775-515-4141 to talk about them. First up, Google is celebrating the 80th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz. Type the title of the movie into the Google search engine. It has to be Google, not Bing. The results page appears, and if you look right over where it says the images or more images, there's a pair of ruby slippers, and you click on those and the screen will spin and it'll turn black and white. And there's also a little thing, Dorothy saying, "There's no place like home," while that's going on. To get everything back to normal, the ruby slippers turn into a little, what shall we say, a tornado? I was going to say a hurricane because I'm from Florida, but a tornado. And and then you click on that and it'll spin again and it'll play the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun music, and everything will turn back to normal. Kind of similar to when Endgame came out and they did the Thanos gauntlet and he'd snap and like all the searches, like half the searches would disappear. So kind of cool how they waste their time and effort, and someone's being paid for doing that, believe it or not. And there is lots of Hasbro news. And to start your first topic of conversation regarding Hasbro President and Chief Operating Officer John Ferracisutia. See?
Paranormal. The lights flickered. Paranormal.
Made a statement that the company will be phasing out the use of plastic in its products by 2022. The following is an excerpt from Hasbro president on the new changes. We'll do it in a number of different ways, from redesigning packages to just taking out the plastic in some cases, replacing it with another material, with things like polybags and elastic bands and shrink wraps. There are other ways to secure the product into packaging and protect the product, for while it's on the shelf. But if Hasbro removes the non-degradable plastic in favor of more earth-friendly packaging, those packagings for new toys could easily wear over time. A lot of the vintage toys out there are paper boxes and plastic. They have withstood the test of time and time again. By changing packaging, it not only will destroy the toy collecting market, but as any segment of collecting has proven, collectors, by participating in their hobby, are preserving history. So, what are your thoughts on that? What do you guys think? Are you guys toy collectors at all?
Toy collectors?
Yeah.
Not since I was a kid.
But you took them out of the package when you were a kid, so. Huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see. So, I got literally totes, 50-gallon totes full of toys, 14 of them.
I wish I would have kept them.
My Star Wars toys.
Yep.
They were so much money.
And that is our cue for our first break. When we get back, more news. As a matter of fact, we'll be talking more about Hasbro because they purchased Death Row Records.
Nice.
So that'll be funny. Anyway, you're listening to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show, and I have in studio with me Paranormal NV that is on Channel 2, and we'll be right back.
KNVC is supported by Computer Core, a nonprofit corporation that refurbishes, recycles, and sells computers and electronics. To learn more about Computer Core, go to computercore.org. This is KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City. Listener-supported radio for your community.
It's been 400 years since a pirate ship brought enslaved Africans to our shores, and we're just starting to face our history.
Yes, this did happen. You're not crazy for thinking that this awful thing happened. It did happen.
The year 1619 is as important to the American story as 1776.
Looking back to understand the story of America on the next Reveal.
KNVC and you, let's grow our community together. Make your financial gift at knvc.org. Do your part to keep your community radio station alive and well.
And we are back to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show on 95.1 FM KNVC, broadcasting to the greater Carson City / Reno area and live streamed to the world at knvc.org. And we have a caller. And how are you, caller?
Yeah, hi, my name's Kathy, and I just have a question for you guys. I know you guys talk a lot about feelings, and I felt this and stuff, but do you guys use any, scientific evidence to validate what it is that you guys are experiencing?
For me, that's a 50-50. I think the two most important tools that you have as an investigator is your eyes and your ears. So that's very personal, and I think that's the first step in knowing if there is something or not. Do you have a personal experience, or what are you thinking?
Oh, no. I mean, I've been on some fun, quote-unquote, ghost walks and stuff, and, with a glass of wine and some friends, it's a lot of fun. But if you actually put in a little bit of effort into realizing what you're hearing, I mean, there's scientific validation for what it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was a dead person.
Hey, Kathy? So okay, there you are. We lost you for a second, Kathy, in cell reception.
Oh. Sorry, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but anyway, I appreciate you guys enjoying the show.
Oh, thanks
very much.
For her, I think that when we film this stuff, that nobody touches the footage but us. So there's voices we get and things that I hear, and for me, that's the biggest scientific proof, because where did that come from? There's clearly someone speaking. We're not talking. It's a different voice that came from something.
Well, I think what her main question was is because I kind of started off. We were talking about being empathic and also clairvoyant in some degree.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't gotten to the exact equipment that you guys use, and so I think her question was more like scientific proof as far as using recordable and documentable equipment to do an actual scientific which we hadn't gotten to yet. Right. So I think that's what she was hinting at. But Kathy, I hope you continue to listen because we will be getting into exactly the type of equipment and what they're looking for with the type of equipment that they use for their investigations, right?
Yes, because there's several different ways that you can validate it, and like we always look to back it up, and back it up again.
Okay, so that there's layers of proof,
absolutely,
and redundancy to the investigation itself. To instead of just like, oh well, just
a personal experience,
or just saying, well, I feel like this is haunted, so it must be. You guys actually go in and you have various different forms of equipment that you use to record on different levels, and which I'm curious about too, because I'm kind of an electronics geek to some degree. So I've always been fascinated, like the equipment that you use, how did you find out what worked with doing what, and all of that stuff. So, but we'll get into that. We still got plenty of show to go. So, anyways,
Jimmy, I don't know if this would relate back to what you were talking about earlier with the Virginia City and all the tombstones, but there was what they call the Great Fire back in 1875 on October the 26th, and that's getting pretty close to the neighborhood of October 31st. Do you think that might have something to do with it?
I honestly don't know because it didn't say how any of them died either on their tombstones. Right. So that was kind of why I was like, and I knew about the October 26th fire, but it didn't say. I'll look in. I guess you looked it up already. You Googled it. Did they say how many people died afterwards that were just badly
12.
Burned or anything?
It doesn't say.
I think it was 12 or 22.
That people?
Yeah.
That died after?
Yeah, and I apologize to anyone listening that's probably fuming right now because they didn't know the answer right off. I thought it was 12 or 22.
Okay. That sounds plausible.
Yeah. Well, that could be plausible. But I'll have to go up and check those tombstones again and make sure that was the same date or close to that date. So, but thank you, Bill.
You are most welcome.
So, yeah, as before we went into the commercial break, Hasbro and Death Row Records, the iconic record label founded in 1991 by Suge Knight, the DOC, and Dr. Dre, has changed ownership. At its peak, the record label once signed iconic rappers like Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg, but after its heyday, the record label became embroiled in controversies, lawsuits, and, of course, the well-documented imprisonment of co-founder Suge Knight. Death Row Records filed for bankruptcy in 2006 and was quickly picked up by an entertainment agency, but the record label's ownership has changed hands yet again. It is now owned by Hasbro, the worldwide toy and board game company. Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner said he's looking forward to furthering their family-orientated brand with Death Row Records. Okay. The acquisition of E1 added beloved story-led global family brands that delivered strong operating revenues to Hasbro's profile and provided a pipeline of new creative. You know what I'm looking forward to now that Hasbro owns Death Row Records? I want an actual set of NWA figures.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Or even Snoop Dogg stuff.
Was NWA, were they Death Row? That was just Dr. Dre, though, right? NWA was the California Raisins dude.
What?
Yeah, the same guy that did the California Raisins.
NWA,
and after they broke up, then Suge Knight grabbed Dr. Dre.
Yeah, but he was still part of it, and I'm sure Ice Cube. Well, it depends on if Suge Knight owned it and transferred it over into Death Row Records. Then technically, Hasbro would own it at that point, so that they could do an NWA toy line, which would be cool.
Would they keep? You think they'll keep the name Death Row Records?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not family friendly. I don't think at all.
Family friendly? I think it is. I disagree. This day and age, nothing says family.
Like Death Row Records?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I like the way you talk, your cynicism. It's great.
That's all kinds of family fun right there, man. Death Row
telling you,
Records.
yeah, exactly. So it'll family brands that deliver strong operating returns to Hasbro's portfolio and provides a pipeline of new and creative driven by family-oriented storytelling, which will now include Hasbro's IP, he said. The big story that has fans talking around the globe was the very public negotiation standoff between Marvel and Sony. Marvel Studios will not produce any further Spider-Man films due to a standoff between the Walt Disney Company and Sony Pictures. According to Dateline, the decision stems from an inability by Disney and Sony Pictures to reach new terms that would have given the former a co-financing stake going forward. For the next two currently planned Spider-Man films, both Homecoming and Far From Home, director John Watts as well as actor Tom Holland are expected to return. However, Marvel's involvement in the projects is doubtful, as Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has been essentially nixed by Sony. It seems Disney asked for all future Spider-Man projects to be a 50-50 co-financing arrangement between Marvel and Sony, but Sony declined. Instead, Sony proposed leaving the current deal untouched, meaning Marvel would continue to receive approximately, drumroll, 5% of first dollar gross while maintaining merchandising rights. So...
Told you we shouldn't sell out to the networks. That's why.
I don't know, 5% of Spider-Man and the merchandising, that's a lot of money.
Well,
they could be getting 50% though.
And I might get shot, but I think there's too many Spider-Man movies anyway.
Well, here's the thing about this, is that Sony is supposedly optimistic about the future of the Spider-Man franchise, even without the helping hand of Marvel. Just so you guys know, Spider-Man Far From Home cemented itself as Sony's highest-grossing film of all time.
Yeah.
So
not surprised.
That's all time for a movie studio. So all it took from Sony was for Sony to get its biggest movie was to get Marvel's help. So I'm not very optimistic about the future of the Spider-Man franchise if it's left in the hands of Sony. I mean, look at the disaster that Fox created with all of
Disney.
its. Disney, I can see it depends. Kevin Feige's done a good job as far as translating and building up the Marvel brand as far as the film and television side of it.
Yeah, but we're going to be going on like Spider-Man 6, and the same thing with like Pirates of the Caribbean. That was such a great movie. Let it be with just one. They're on their like 12th one. Just.
I could see 3. I mean,
3 works, but they're going to overkill it, take it to the bank.
Well, they're coming out with Thor 4.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I think that they had a crappy movie in there. I mean, Thor. What was that? Not Ragnarok, which I didn't really like because there was too much. Seemed like improv humor in it. But The Dark World is arguably probably the worst Marvel movie ever made. So, but they're still coming out with Thor 4 as long as it also has the continuity with the rest of the Marvel universe going on. Because Thor 4, of course, will have the Guardians of the Galaxy. And, depending on who's introduced with the Eternals movie, we'll have far-reaching... So they're all tied in together. For Sony, only has Spider-Man. And you saw what they did with the Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, that was 2 and done because they were just crappy movies. So
yeah, I don't like that movie. I like the old Spider-Man.
What, Tobey Maguire?
Yes. You didn't like it?
I had issues with it because it branched too far from the comic book. It wasn't Spider-Man making the webbing. It was actually the webbing coming out of his veins or something, which was just weird. But I liked how they did Dr. Octopus. I thought that was a really good Dr. Octavius, a good take on that character. But overall, I wasn't. And the emo Spider-Man that they had in the last movie.
I mean, I think
that was fine.
With Thor, you can keep going because, I mean, he's just so sexy with that blonde hair. You're just going to go, you're just going to go to watch with, hair, that buffness and the hammer.
Well, did you see the Endgame? He wasn't very buff in that.
Letting himself go.
He looked more like Santa Claus than he did. But anyways, Oh, boy, it's already that time, and I'm still on the news. But anyway, what are your guys' thoughts on the breakup between Marvel and Sony? And, and speaking of Disney's D3 Expo, the largest Disney fan event in the world and celebrating all of the wonderful worlds of the Walt Disney Company under one roof, including the best of Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars across film, television, theme parks, products, online music, live entertainment, and more, has wrapped this weekend with tons of new material for everyone to salivate over. Are you guys Star Wars fans?
I'm not.
I actually am, but I still haven't seen the new movies.
You're not missing anything.
I'm 50-50 on it.
Okay.
I think they're hit or miss on them.
Did you see the new movies?
Yeah, but it's like I am still bitter about Jar Jar.
Oh,
why?
well, yeah.
Why?
I
That
literally
hurts.
in the theater when that movie came out, me and my little brother went to watch it because we were huge Star Wars fans because we saw it originally when it came out in a drive-in. It was a double feature with Logan's Run. So another great. Yeah, stay on your phone there, Junior, because you don't know anything about Logan's Run either. It's science fiction.
Did you leave crying? Did you leave crying after you saw Jar Jar?
No, actually, I was in the middle of the theater, and when they had him show up on screen, I started yelling, "Kill it!" And so people were like turning around, staring at me, all angry and everything.
That's okay. We can be friends. Yeah, we can be friends.
Because I hated that character. Oh,
Yeah.
I loathed that character so much.
I like that movie though. Yeah, I actually tried out I set my picture in to try out for the part of Anakin.
Really?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I did, so just so you know.
That is great.
So
I figured why not. It was an open casting call that they were doing.
For Anakin? Mm-hmm. Wow, that's surprising. I would have opted to be a stormtrooper, but
any part would have been great.
Yeah, I guess that's what Daniel Craig said too, because one of the movies, The Force Awakens, he was a stormtrooper.
That'll see.
That is awesome. I did not know that.
Really?
You're full of pop culture knowledge.
Yeah, that's why I do the show.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, or the Mandalorian, however you want to pronounce it, they finally have a trailer for that, and that looks awesome. Because if you like basically what is now considered 4, 5, and 6, you will like the Mandalorian, because it takes place after 6 and before these crappy new movies.
Yeah.
So is it a prequel? It's not a prequel.
It's
after.
Technically a prequel to the new movies, but it's a prequel done the right way because it's not the main characters. This is a completely new character being introduced to the Star Wars universe, and he's a bounty hunter, so he's wearing Mandalorian armor just like Boba Fett did.
Okay.
But it takes place in the Outer Rim, and it just looks badass. Oh, wait, it's not 8 o'clock yet. I can't say that. Oh. Sometimes you forget it's live radio. So, there's an IG-11 or IG-88 assassin droid that is this kind of like partner, like C-3PO. And there's this epic fight scene in the trailer. That's awesome.
Okay, now I got to watch this trailer. I want to see this. But the thing what'll happen is I'll have it in my mind to watch it, and then we'll get busy, and I'll never see it.
Oh,
I know.
Well, it'll be on Disney Plus, so it'll be on TV, not in the theater.
There's their new streaming Disney Plus.
Yep, it's part of Hulu actually. So if you have Hulu, Disney Plus will be part of Hulu.
Oh, okay.
But when it's coming?
November 12th.
I'm excited for it.
We've been out on the road so much. You're going to hit us like a deer in headlights with some of the stuff. I'm like, wait, is Han Solo in there?
No. Okay, so that is the news. So they, aside from that, they also had trailers and talked about Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, Frozen 2, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, Onward, Mulan, which looks bad, Cruella, which looks bad. Because they're all... I hate that Disney is taking all of their...
old movies and remaking them?
As live action. They even had a trailer for Lady and the Tramp as a live action movie. Yes.
But I like that one, though.
So
I did... That dog, though, I think that I liked about it. That dog is the one that plays the tramp was a rescue dog that they got from a shelter. I think that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool, but...
the movie would probably be awful, but...
It's a remake of a cartoon.
I think it's going to be a good movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like Aladdin?
No.
Lion King?
Yes.
Not as much
not the
as the
original.
Cartoon. No, I like the cartoon better.
Okay, see?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a good movie.
It wasn't
Anyway.
bad. It's just the first one is better.
Well, see, and I refuse to watch any of these remakes that they're doing of the two of them. So, creaky doors.
It's just paranormal. Nothing to worry about.
Another movie called Soul, Raya and the Last Dragon, and Jungle Cruise, which will star Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock.
That looks awesome.
You saw that?
No, but it looks awesome. Because it's got The Rock. Now, that one I could see going live. He did it like with Jumanji. I'm looking for it. I'll watch that. I'll give it a try.
Okay. Well, he actually showed up on stage in like the weird, it was like striped sailor suit, you know?
Right,
like
the boat crew.
Yeah. So that was kind of weird. But on the Marvel side, news came out about Disney Plus Marvel series, including my personal favorite. They're going to have a Moon Knight TV series now, which is totally awesome because Moon Knight was one of my favorite characters from the old school Marvel days. And since this announcement, the price of those comic books, as far as back issues and first appearance, has skyrocketed. So, yeehaw, good for them, at least in my opinion. And it is that time once again. So it is now 7:40, which means we'll be taking another break. When we get back, we'll be talking movies with Mr. Tony Sanfilippo in Colorado. He is here with me every week to do that. Fortunately, there's only one movie for us to talk about this week. So after this break, we'll be right back with more from Pop Culture Kaboom and also Paranormal NV, who is with us in studio. Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Support for KNVC is provided by Western Nevada College. With campuses in Carson City, Fallon, and Minden, Western Nevada College offers educational opportunities in a learning environment where students can thrive. Transfer degrees, professional and technical pathways, and online programs provide individuals a variety of choices to advance their careers. For information about Western Nevada College, visit wnc.edu.
Your generosity makes it all possible. KNVC volunteer and listener-driven radio station. Hit donate at knvc.org.
Tune in and turn on. It's time to blow your mind and drift into the universe with me, the professor, as I guide you through all the grooviest music from the psychedelic 60s. Only right here on Professor Hieronymus Jones' Feel Good Psych Hour, Saturday nights at 7 o'clock. Right here on KNVC 95.1 FM.
This is KNVC 95.1 FM in Carson City, Nevada, and streaming online at knvc.org.
And welcome back to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show on 95.1 FM KNVC in the greater Carson City / Reno area and broadcast to the world at knvc.org. Each week, the film powers that be release dozens of movies, some of which you will never hear about, except here. Each week's releases are carefully picked over, and up to 5 films are selected from genres that I would watch. And those genres are action, adventure, horror, science fiction, anime, or fantasy. And that's pretty much it. With that in mind, some of the most hideous trailers ever made are sat through, and we will read you the synopsis of the film, then give you our opinions from the synopsis and trailer viewing before giving you its rating from Pop Culture Kaboom's patented movie rating system. Joining me in this endeavor and to provide a second opinion, I've enlisted film connoisseur and operator Sanfilippo's Horrible Movie Reviews on Facebook and co-host of the podcasting Proton Pack with Chris and Tony, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. You can check out both of his Facebook pages at Sanfilippo's Horrible Reviews and, of course, Proton Pack Podcast. Bear in mind, we are not professional professional movie critics. At least I'm not, but he's well on his way to being that. We are just overly opinionated blowhards, but we do utilize a carefully crafted and patented movie rating system, which is as follows. If it is worth seeing in a theater at full price, it is a good, not a great movie. That is to be determined by you if you choose to see it in a theater. If it is worth seeing in a theater as a matinee or in your town's cheap theater, it is a so-so. If it is worth seeing on Netflix or as a Redbox rental, or however you choose to watch the film while avoiding social interaction, it is a blah. If it is deemed so awful, you should wait for it to be on public television. It is considered a touch brown. And we only have one movie this week, sir.
Yep, only one. Jimmy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How's the concert you're at this evening?
I am currently at Alice in Chains and Corn at the Pepsi Center in Denver. I found a quiet, well, as quiet as could be, little haven.
Well, that's and good for you. Good luck. I'm glad you were able to find someplace. That's different. So since we only have one,
you might hear something.
Since we only have one movie, I'll just go ahead and let it rip, and then we'll get into another topic of discussion. First up is, or actually the only one up, so I guess this is also the 400-pound gorilla in the room this week, is Don't Let Go. And in parentheses, it's relive. And here's the synopsis. Detective Jack Radcliffe gets a shocking phone call from his recently murdered niece, Ashley. Working together across time, they race to solve her murder before it can happen. Okay. And that is the only synopsis I got. Did you get anything else?
No, that was the exact same synopsis I found for it, too.
Okay.
Until you sent that, I had never even heard of the movie.
Me neither. But you know what? Here's what I think about this movie. I never watched the Dennis Quaid film Frequency, but I did see Denzel Washington's Deja Vu and enough of Jack Gyllenhaal's Source Code to know that this is a very, very similar movie. It does seem to take the best aspects of all three of those previously mentioned movies with a little modern twist, produces a movie with a trailer that actually hooks you into wanting to watch the movie. So I don't know if this qualifies as a remake, but the plot line is more interesting than a firefighter ham radioing a son from 30 years in the past, or a man dying reliving the last 30 minutes of his life until he gets it right, or a homicide detective a la Minority Report trying to solve a murder. Actually, it does seem more like the Denzel Washington Deja Vu film than I thought it did in the first place. But regardless, I give it a blah. What say you?
I did. At first, it was like a great trailer spoiled the film, and then it's like, oh, she's dead, and now she's a demon who calls him back because it's a Blumhouse movie, so I assume it was going to be horror. At least they do good ones. But then it turns into a travel mystery where she's alive and he's 2 weeks in the future, and I thought that was pretty unique, and it definitely has my interest. It went from about a touch brown to a blah for me, because now I actually want to see it. That's the first time I think where the trailer kind of switched it for me, where at first it was kind of like, oh, it's a spoil. I had no interest to, oh, all right, well, maybe I would watch that. So I will go with a blah.
A blah. Okay, so two blahs. Did you guys happen to see the trailer for this?
We did. Is blah, so blah's good?
Blahs, I'll watch it when it's on Netflix.
I would see this one in the theater.
You would? So you'd give it a good or a so-so?
I'd give it a good. It really, the one I like the movie these guys made before, the Get Out.
Yeah.
I really like that movie, so I think that if anything similar to that I would like this one as well.
Okay. And how about you?
Richard took everything I was going to say. Yeah, I like Get Out, so I would at least give it a shot. The trailer looks interesting. I want to see where the big twist is, but maybe I already did that in the trailer.
Did you guys see any of the movies that I mentioned?
Well, the last 30-minute one, is that like Death Day 2 type of thing?
The Source Code? No, it's where he's on a train and there's a bomb that goes off, and I don't know exactly what happens. They find a piece of him or something, and they put him in like a chamber, and this is all science fiction. You wouldn't know what I'm talking about, Junior.
Junior, can you just leave now?
This one.
No, I'm just going to bag on you about the whole science fiction thing, actually. But so they're talking to him, but he's in this chamber, and so he has to keep going back to try and find who set the bomb. so that they can prosecute him.
That sounds familiar.
But he's already dead, and so they're kind of talking to him in the past. But it's, like I said, I didn't see the whole thing. I only caught part of it, and I'm like, well, that's weird. But I never bothered to try and retrace it.
This one though, I'll see it in the theater.
The movie Don't Let Go? Yeah, me too. I think they did a good job with the trailer, so it made me want to watch it.
Okay.
I think it's going to be good.
So you give it a good? You give it a...
Well, I don't know. I mean, I want to check it out, but now the way that you guys are talking about it, I don't know if I'm going to want the 2 hours back of my life after seeing it.
Oh, no, trust me. This one, I give it a blah, so I'd watch it on Netflix, which is good.
I would watch it, definitely. I don't know if I'd make it to a theater to see it. It looks good enough where I would catch it. I'd even put it almost up as a so-so if you can catch a good matinee price.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
a low so-so, a high...
It does make you... It does take it from, all right, I don't know anything about it, so, all right, that looks interesting.
So, because, actually seeing it in the theater, you almost have to put a second mortgage on your house to buy, concessions and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
That's why it's got to be really, really good.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, anymore. Well, you can at least get streaming pretty pretty affordably, so that would be a good way to do that.
Yeah, so... and Junior, you...
Yeah, I want to watch. It's going to be a good movie.
So you give it a good. You'll see it in the theater. Okay. So vast different opinions on that one. Okay. So let's since we have some extra time in the segment, since we only had one movie this week. Next week though is It Chapter 2. So that'll be a good one. And of course, next week on the show, I will be giving away 2 advanced screening tickets to go see It Chapter 2. Are you guys going to go see it? Huh?
Can I get a ticket?
Yeah, listen to the show next week and call in. And you can get a ticket and you can go and see the film at advanced screening. So you'll be seeing it on Thursday the 5th, not when it's actually released on Friday the 6th.
IMAX down here, right? Or the Galaxy Theater?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Here in Carson? Or
Yeah. They're reserved seatings, and I always get the best seats in the house.
So it's
we'll be
IMAX?
watching it. No, it's not IMAX. The only IMAX theater is up in the
Sparks one. Okay.
But see, I would go see it with you because you're not going to chew popcorn behind my head and kick my seat. You'd be a delightful person to go see a movie with. I
wouldn't.
I'm totally.
Yeah, I am a combination of CinemaSins and Mystery Science Theater 3000 when I go see a movie. So
just as long as you're not mowing down on a whole thing of popcorn and
I'm not doing.
I want to bring my kids to the movie.
Kernels flying everywhere. Yeah. You'd take your kids to go see it.
Pistachios were a good idea. No, I'm just saying just as long as you don't. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that.
You don't talk watching the movie, right?
Oh, I would talk the whole time.
Game over.
I make snide comments during a film. Actually, here's probably the best one. I went and saw the Batman versus Superman. Mm-hmm. And did you guys see that movie?
How could you not talk through that?
Okay, did you see it? Everybody here saw it? Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised? So, at the beginning when there's that whole, let's revisit the history of Batman, even though it's been the same thing for the last 80 years. And he falls down the hole, and then all of a sudden that whirlwind of bats start lifting him up. As he was going up, that was me rising out of my chair at the same time because I was about to walk out of that movie. It was that because that was the direction it was going to take. So and then he got up to the top and he, but that was all a dream. I turned to the guy I went to the movie with. I'm like, they just saved themselves. I'm kind of paraphrasing here because I can't cuss, but I'm like, they just saved themselves on this one because I was about to walk out of this movie.
Yeah.
So
have you ever been asked to leave a movie, Jen?
No,
not
yet. I think people are just scared to say.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
I don't care. I'm not that. It's not like I'm, a Rocky Horror Theater or a Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm not yelling comments at the
throwing
screen.
Stuff.
Yeah, or any of that. I'm just kind of like, the person next to me is like making snide comments about the movie throughout the whole movie. So that's the viewing experience with me. Anyways, so far this year, your opinion, what has been the best movie? Tony?
Is that just for anyone? I would say for me, if it's going to be me, sorry, I'm trying to mute the other ear so I don't have too much noise. But for me, I think it's definitely been Endgame. That was probably the best one I've seen this year in the theater. If it wasn't that, the most recent one was Hobbs and Shaw. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Really? You liked Calvin and Hobbes?
I like Calvin and Hobbes, man. It was enjoyable. The Rock was he was killer in it. He was good.
Okay.
Jason Statham, he's badass. It was a good action flick.
Okay. Well, and worst movie so far this year?
Well, I didn't have to go see Dora the Explorer with my girlfriend, so that's good. I didn't have to see that crap.
How'd you dodge that bullet? I thought that was kind of like one of those things you were like, I'm going to have to go.
No, I got lucky where I ended up going to see something, or doing something else, and I couldn't go. So I'm going to have to say the Dark Phoenix, the X-Men movie. That was really crappy. And I really wanted it to be good, and I knew it was going to be crap going in, and that's probably one of the worst ones I've seen this year that I can remember.
Okay, I'm trying to remember, though. I didn't look it up beforehand. Hellboy, was that this year or was that last year?
Oh, no, there you go. No, it was this year.
Okay, that's my pick for worst movie of the year so far, because that was just an
that
absolute...
was really bad, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big stinky pile of touch brown, that one was. So I called that one right out of the gate, too. I don't know.
Yeah, you did.
So that's and I agree with you with Avengers Endgame. So far, I think that has been the best movie of the year so far. Although... what was that one a couple of weeks ago where the guy bumps his head and suddenly the Beatles aren't around anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Yesterday.
Yesterday. I think that is probably probably my pick for after Endgame as far as best movie of the year.
Yeah. So. I'm also going to offend some Elton John fans out there. I really did not like Rocket Man. I thought it was weird as hell. I did not enjoy it. I don't know how I got dragged to that one, but I saw it, and I really did not enjoy that either.
Okay. Well, what about you, gentlemen? And Ted?
You have me stuck on Dora the Explorer. I want to go, and you guys have an obligation in radio to go see this movie and give it a chance. And I want to be that guy sitting behind you going, shh, shh, the whole movie.
Oh, turn around and glare at you.
That would be fun. That would be a good time.
See, well, I'm going to get into this with you guys about the horror movies, and specifically the supernatural horror movies, because Tony knows I pretty much like the Conjuring universe and all of those things, those movies. I pretty much call them the jump scare drinking games. So every time there's a jump scare, you have to, take a drink. So I'm going to get into you guys with that after, because we're at the top of the hour break here. Once we get back from that, go into that, and I want to hear your guys' opinions as professional paranormal investigators, your opinions of the paranormal investigators in these Conjuring movies and Annabelle and stuff like that.
You have to get into Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That was a cinema masterpiece.
An awesome movie.
Yeah. That's the truth of all ghost hunting. Yeah.
Really?
That's all paranormal wrapped up into one package right there. Wow. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
You got to see it as a double feature, though, with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Junior still has no idea what we're talking about.
Did you ever see the one with the rabbits too? The rabbits attack and kill everybody. That too. That got robbed at the Oscars. It's great. There's actually a horror movie called Rabbits that attack and kill people.
Which is kind of funny because right now both of the guys that work with you the most are looking at you like you're speaking Swahili. They're both staring at you like, "What the?"
There's good reason for that.
Where'd this guy come from?
It's so bad you have to see it again. That's masterpiece.
All right. Well, Tony, we will talk to you next week. There's actually some decent movies coming out, so we'll have fun talking about it.
I look forward to it, and I won't be hiding out in a room at the Pepsi Center next week. I'll be back to normal place, normal time.
All right, sir. Well, you take care up there in Colorado, and we'll talk to you soon.
Later, fellas.
Thanks.
Rock on. Have fun.
Thank you. Watch our show.
From Colorado?
You can watch it,
on YouTube.
Oh, well, that's right. You guys are on YouTube. I still need to get into all of that information, too.
We have all the episodes there,
But yeah, so since we're on talking about movies, like those horror movies, like the Conjuring universe, Annabelle about a haunted doll, what was it, Insidious, movies like that, how accurate are they with any of it? I mean, because I look at them, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think, Richard?
You want me to go?
Yeah, yeah.
I have huge skepticism in it. I think it's just something that's too good to be true. Yes, I know the story's there. I'm going to hate people calling in here any second now, but I'm just not buying it. I'm sorry. I'm right there with you. I'm in it for the scare value, but the actual factual same thing with the exorcism of Emily Rose.
That was a good movie.
I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but
So you
as
watch
far as
horror movies at least.
I like it.
But as far as it being completely factual, I mean, even looking in the Amityville horror house, the horror movie, there's a lot of doubts behind that. There's a lot of doubts behind that. I mean, the family was murdered there, but as far as like the paranormal, they got a lot of flack for
Kind of
falsifying
the over-top.
information.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and that aspect of it, at least, I take it as it's a movie. It's all fiction, pretty much, and that's my take on it going into any of this. So, but as far as does that kind of there's the cue. Does that taint in any way? When you guys watch it, you're like, oh man, they got this so wrong.
As soon as I see based on a real story, it's like, no.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on anything that's based on a real story. Is like, no. All right, that means that it is time. It is now 8 o'clock, and so we will be right back with more with Paranormal NV. You can catch their show at 11:35 p.m. on Channel 2 in Reno, and they are also on YouTube, so you can watch all the previous episodes on YouTube.
All of them.
All right, so you can watch all of their previous episodes of Season 1, which we'll be talking about when we get right back.
Support for KNVC comes from the Carson City Symphony Association. Since 1984, they have provided music performance and education opportunities for people of all ages through instrumental, choral, and youth programs. For information, visit ccsymphony.com.
You're listening to KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City.
Hey, this is Canyon White, host of the Canyon Club, every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. at 95.1 FM, KNVC, Carson Community Radio. We are looking for guests and audience. If you'd like to be a guest, contact Joe Bly at knvc.org. If you'd like to be an audience, come out every Thursday afternoon. We pre-record at 2 to 3, 990 North Minnesota Street. Free beer while it lasts.
If you listen to great music, news, and information on KNVC 95.1 FM and enjoy it regularly, please consider joining our family and donating at knvc.org.
Horror movies, like horror movies or you don't? I don't watch.
I'm gonna fill in my favorite movie.
And welcome back to Pop Culture KABOOM Radio Show on 95.1 FM KNVC in the greater Carson City / Reno area, and broadcast live to the world at knvc.org. We all know that Northern Nevada has haunted spots, and a new show explores the paranormal side of our state, Paranormal NV, a locally filmed and produced television show that features ghost and paranormal investigations at locations that are reported to be haunted by ghosts using a variety of electronic devices, including EMF meters, digital thermometers, both handheld and static digital video cameras, including thermographic and night vision. Those things sound expensive too, by the way, as well as thermal and
They are expensive.
night vision cameras, as well as digital audio recorders. This show features all local production and talent from the region and is on KTVN Channel 2 at 11:35 p.m. on Saturdays. And I have Ted Moore, Richard Sloan, and Junior Lopez in the studio with me today to talk about Paranormal NV. So we're going to get into a little bit of that, and actually a little personal story of mine that is kind of related. When I lived in Florida, we lived in Middleburg, which is kind of like a I don't know, not really a suburb of, but a little small town, kind of like Carson City is, and it's over by Jacksonville, Florida. And it was on this little white house and on Main Street, though it wasn't really a main street because our neighbor was like far away. And my mom said the house was built during the Civil War. So my dad was in the Navy, so he was stationed, I think, in like Iceland or something like that. So, and it was just my mom and my two brothers and I. And I had to share a room with my little brother, so we had bunk beds. That's how little we were. And so one night, I was always on the top bunk because I didn't want him over me because he was kind of a slob, so I didn't want my little brother sleeping above me. So I'm on the top bunk, and one night I woke up, and literally from my waist to my head was off the bed. And I remember this because and some guy was holding me up, and he was wearing gray. I remember that. And he goes, "You need to lift yourself up." And I went, so I just did what he said, and I just kind of crawled back onto the bed. But there was no guy in the house. It was just my mom and my brothers and I. So that was kind of like a ghost experience.
It was.
To this day, I still don't know what it was or how, because it didn't seem like he actually spoke. It just seemed like it registered in my head. But I know that if someone didn't grab me, I would have landed on my head on the ground because I'm on the top bunk bed. So there's no way I could have physically, from the waist to my head, be suspended off of a bunk bed with only my feet on the bed, So physics don't work like that. So your guys' thoughts on that?
That sounds creepy to me.
I think it was something that actually cares about you because it was trying to tell you to move so you don't fall off the bed. So I believe it was a caring spirit.
And that was the only experience that I ever had in that house, too, by the way. And never anything else happened.
Are you sure you weren't dreaming? I
Yes.
don't mean to bag on you, but...
Oh, that was my first thought. I was dreaming, but then I remember very specific aspects, that you would only remember if you were awake. Because, if it was a dream, I know when I'm dreaming and someone says something, I just do it. But this was like, I remember waking up and hanging off the bed, and someone was holding me up. And then I'm like looking around, and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fall.
And you saw him.
Oh, bleep, I'm going to fall on my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of caught him out of the corner of my eye, and then, I knew somebody, and I knew it felt like pressure in two specific spots.
At least it wasn't malicious.
No, he just said, you need to lift yourself up.
I don't think it was.
And that was it. And that's all he said. He didn't say anything else. And when I heard the voice, I kind of looked to see, and I saw it was a guy wearing like a hat and a gray hat, and because the South, Civil War.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I didn't make the correlation until the next day when I thought about it, or actually a couple of years later. It was like, wait, they wore gray in the Civil War, didn't they? And so it's just something that I thought was very odd. And like I said, that was the only weird experience I ever had in this house because we weren't there that long, probably. But so I just kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Is that like your only real experience as far as
that I can remember?
That you can remember?
Yeah.
Not just in the house, but following you around anywhere else?
Not that I can remember. Like I said, we went from there to Middleburg. We went from Middleburg to Mayport, or was it the other way around, and then back to NAS Jack. So my dad was in the Navy, so we moved a lot.
Okay. Now I want to go to that house.
Yeah.
And investigate that house.
I don't even know if it's still there. I'll text my brother tomorrow and ask him if that house is still there in Middleburg. So.
Well, it's just weird because, like, myself as a kid, my first paranormal experience, if you want to call that was the same thing. I had something physically grab my foot and pull me out of bed. But to this day, I question myself trying to think of a better explanation than pulling the paranormal card. Yes, it's like, was I really pulled, or did I like fall out of the bed and I trimmed it? And that's where I'm like wondering, like with you, just wondering, just asking. It's like,
it's something I've questioned like ever since it happened. I mean, to this day, I still like, I don't know. I mean, all the aspects of it, I could have dreamed it, but no, it was just. You felt when you feel things, certain things, and remember feeling certain things, like if you're dreaming it, you're not going to feel a guy holding two specific spots on your body to keep you from falling.
Exactly, and like that's
you're
where
not going to feel the gravity of your head hanging because you're hanging off a bed.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of question it, and it's kind of this is actually the first time I ever talked to anybody about this little.
There you go. You're opening up to us, so
yeah.
we're a little therapeutic for you. Yeah.
So it was weird, and so paranormal in nature, I guess. So
I would call that paranormal.
Yeah, me too. I think he was there protecting you. Honestly.
Okay. Do you guys? So what prompts you guys to? You guys just wrapped season 1, right?
Getting there, almost. We have 3 episodes left for
season 1. 3 episodes left for season 1, and there is going to be a season 2.
There will be,
absolutely.
And will it be in the same place on Channel 2?
Same place, Channel 2, 11:35 on Saturdays.
Now, are you guys going to do anything in between? Are you going to be scouting locations and stuff for season 2?
Oh yeah, we'll be hunting and looking and doing all that stuff while we're off season.
Okay. Is there a process to this? If someone say like the experience that I had, if the house was here and I still lived here, I mean, is there something that a means of, or how would I say? So like I contact you and say, hey, I had this weird experience. There's something weird with my house. What's the process for you guys to actually go look into something? Because I mean, you probably get like nutcases and stuff like that. People wanting attention. And
yes, we do.
How do you weed out the wackos?
Well, I guess that's kind of tricky. I mean, sometimes you never really know if someone's actually because maybe they have seen something. So just taking it at face value and saying no, this is not true. We would talk to them and investigate that further and usually.
The biggest one for me is if you have kids involved. If there's kids involved, I'll get more involved with it because you have to be careful. What is the resolve to this going to be? If we do an investigation there, what is the do you want us to get rid of the spirit, or are you just looking for answers? You have to be very careful in doing that. A lot of times we'll refer people over because you have to be very careful with it. And a lot of that is because sometimes people will make stuff up and they will be convinced that there's something there. When we go in there, if we don't find anything, it might be just on that night, but if it's not haunted, we're going to tell you it's not haunted. It's not to upset you, but I'm not going to.
Right?
I'm not going to tell something to appease you or lie.
Okay. What's your take on all of this, Junior? When they say, okay, we have this location coming up. How do you feel when you go in? What's your thoughts going into a location?
Well, my first thought is I don't want to go.
Ever?
Because when I go, I feel really uncomfortable, and I can tell when there's something there. So first, I'm really uncomfortable. Like they went to Verdi a couple times. The second time I didn't go because the first time I had a really bad experience. So I was like, I'm not going this time because it makes me feel sick, and so I didn't. So they tell me I do like a research. I look it up online, and if I feel good about it, I'll go. So yeah. Season 2, we're going to try to go outside of Nevada, which I'm really excited for it because I like traveling, right? So that's our plan, to expand and go different states.
Well, didn't you guys just get done doing one in Oregon?
We did Oregon.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That's traveling.
But that was the only one we did outside of Nevada, right?
We had Jacksonville too.
One,
and
but
Truckee,
also Oregon.
Truckee. We like to keep it in the state. One of the biggest things I'm looking forward to is hitting the Winnemuccas, the Eurekas. One of the craziest places we did was Belmont, Nevada. It's like, have you ever seen a full-body apparition? Yes, we saw 2 in one night. So we're really looking forward to getting back to that place. Richard, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I like Genoa. We're going down there.
Yeah.
I like any place that has history onto it as well. I mean, we can go to lots of houses. People can call, say, "Oh, my house is haunted," that kind of stuff. That's not really what I look forward to. I look for places like this studio. Old buildings that have a backstory, history, preferably like a dark history, because that lends itself to the creepiness while we're in there. We go. That's the kind of things I look forward to. We did North Sierra Street this last a couple weeks ago, and that was an old building. And I thought, I grew up here, so I remember going to like concerts there back in the 90s and things like that. And so I was excited to get in there and see if that place was haunted, and it was. We got a lot of great stuff down at Dark Pursuit and Axe Bar. So I look forward to anything that's like that, and I like to do. I agree with Junior.
I imagine there's going to be lots of future things involved with the Axe Bar, quite honestly.
Right?
Mix alcohol and throwing sharp objects, and that's going to lend itself to some disaster. Yeah. But like I know that aside from the Pyramid Lake water babies, you guys know the folklore behind that.
I know some of it because, like I said, Ted and I are from here, so we're used to that as we were kids of the pyramid water babies. That's where people disappear out there, right? Like the lake will just swallow you up. And
these critters that are, there's two different versions of it that I've been able to find. One is the Paiute tribe out there. They would throw malformed and just undesirable babies into the lake to drown them, and so the water babies are actually their angry spirits. And you can hear them making like weird baby cries at night and just, stuff like that. And fishermen would go out on there and the water babies would actually drag them underwater.
That is awful. That is an awful story.
It is. It really is. But
no. One of the investigations we have coming up is Governor's Mansion.
Okay.
Two of the Capitol police officers worked out there at Pyramid when they were police officers out there. And they had no problem coming up to us and talking to us, and they caught the same thing. These are police officers. They could lose their job if they're lying about this stuff, saying exactly what you're saying. So that makes it all the more valid to me that they're hearing these war cries out there. Two uniformed police officers are telling me this, and they were very excited to do it.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like that's a freaky deaky place. I'm absolutely buying into it.
Pyramid?
Yes.
I love Pyramid though.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard the stories of like, the girl. There's one story. They were having a party on there, and this girl was standing on the beach, and they turn around, and she was gone next, and they say, the water just swallowed her up or something.
Well, yeah, there's
I don't
that
know
because the undercurrent from the Truckee River. But like as far as paranormal activity, I think it's a lot of like Indian stuff out there, and they don't necessarily like us white-eye folk, and they will go after you. And there's some crazy stuff out there.
Proceed
with caution.
Those kind of things I don't like to go and poke at either.
Yes.
Because if there is those
water baby things.
I don't want to go there and like throw rocks at them, so to speak.
I think the whole terminology, don't poke a bear, comes to mind.
And I think that's very much true. I think even with a lot of stuff we do, when I first started doing this, I didn't consider that as much as I do now after, like Junior mentioned, Verdi and a couple other places we've gone. I actually take measures before I go do this to protect myself so that I'm not, so these things don't attach to you, because I think they do.
That's what another question I was going to ask you guys about is, obviously you guys have seen enough to be believers in this.
Yeah,
absolutely. Is there a means that you guys go through or prepare yourselves to kind of protect yourselves going into a situation? Because, you don't really know what you're going to run into.
No.
And so how do you protect yourselves kind of on say, shall we say, mystically from anything occurring like that where something bad follows you home?
You need to.
I think you have control over it. I absolutely believe that you have control over it, and if you don't want something following you, you need to tell it that. Another one is the St. Michael prayer. Can't explain it to you. I think there's a greater good there, and it works. People have sage.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Saging. I think that's more just clean out your house than it would be to actually get rid of a spirit that you might have brought with you from an investigation. It's just keeping your living space clean. Another one is different kind of salts that you can use to like bury it away from investigation. Just take that energy away from there.
The rocks, the little rocks.
Obsidian.
Yeah.
We carry obsidian. Different, and not when we first started. When I first started doing this, I didn't do any of that. But then as things kind of went on and we did start having, experiences and things like that, I was kind of like, okay, well, there's got to be something to this. So maybe there is something to that, because I didn't know how much, the obsidian would carry, or we'd go down to, witch stores. You can't see me doing the quotes, but I'm doing like something like that, right? And get spell pouches that we carry on us now that sort of like they're supposed to be for protection, that kind of stuff, because I have had bad luck from it, and so why not?
So it'd be kind of funny. These stores that you, if they know what you guys do, one day go back in there. This didn't work. I want to refund. They're like, what?
I fell and broke my leg. It doesn't work.
These crystals suck.
They didn't have the energy, So
I'm a believer in that kind of stuff anyway. So it fit, but I really go for it now just to make sure that hey, because we have had bad juju, bad luck. There was Verdi. We all had a list of bad experiences right after we did that one, and we wound up catching a lot of stuff on the cameras and in the equipment.
And that episode's already aired, right?
Verdi aired, yeah. But you can find it on YouTube.
I was gonna say
find it on YouTube or our Facebook page.
What's it? Is there a specific? How are you guys putting your shows up on YouTube? Is it like episode 3 or Verdi, or how is it actually listed?
What is Verdi episode?
I believe 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
6s and 7s.
6.
I think it's 6. I think Verdi.
It's the one that says Verdi.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll point
right
it.
Now.
Oh,
but you know what? But that brings us with what we encountered at Verdi is a lot like what you're talking about with Pyramid, where you have to wonder, is this human or is it not? And in my head, that's one of the things I love about being an investigator is how is that possible? Okay. How is that possible to have something like a water baby? I'm not necessarily believing that's like human from the stories I've heard. Well,
I've heard a different story too. Actually, Tony, because he used to live here, he's the one who told me the other version of it, where it's like little creatures that live out there. And
yes.
So, and that's that cow noise that they
skinwalkers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So.
And it's like, how is that possible? And it sparks my curiosity.
Oh, you think that was bad? You should hear my Kermit the Frog. So it's like there's all these.
So Verdi,
versions
it's episode 6 on YouTube.
Episode 6 on YouTube. Go check it out. Paranormal Nevada, and we'll be right back. We're at another break, of course. So more with Paranormal Nevada on Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show.
Support for Roots, Rednecks, and Radicals and KNVC is provided by Play Your Own Music. Play Your Own Music is a source for musical instruments, rentals, instrument repair, music lessons, and recording studio space. Locally owned for over 11 years, Play Your Own Music is a resource for local musicians and encourages everyone to explore their inner musician. Located at 112 East John Street in Carson City. For more information, call Play Your Own Music at 775-815-7529 or 885-PLAY.
If you love the local news and public affairs programs on KNVC, special programs that give you what you need in these complex times, help KNVC keep going. Hit the donor button at knvc.org.
This week on The Pioneers, Revolution from the Heart of Nature.
We need people to think with their hearts. We need them to see that their soul is connected to every other living creature on this planet, and we need to apply the science to come up with the solutions.
I'm Neil Harvey. This week it's a spiritual response to the ecological crisis on The Pioneers, Revolution from the Heart of Nature.
KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City, Dayton, Minden, and Gardnerville.
fade that music out. Hey, Bill. Thank you. He wanted the extended mix of that song, I guess. So I am talking with Paranormal Nevada, and they have their TV show on Channel 2 every Saturday night, 11:35 p.m. They're currently involved in Season 1. There's 3 episodes left, right?
3 left, yeah.
3 left. Are they already filmed and they're just kind of in the editing stage, or you guys still need to actually...
Editing some of them, and we still have one we're filming.
Okay. And,
which we actually film tomorrow night.
Yep.
So tomorrow night?
We crank these out pretty quick.
So what is coming up this coming Saturday?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville?
So this is another out-of-state one that we're doing. This is
Jacksonville, Oregon.
Oregon, yeah.
Yeah, we did the Orth building. It was pretty cool.
And anything really exciting going to be on this episode as far as because there's a lot of people that are just now hearing about you guys' show, so they're going to be tuning in Saturday, 11:35.
There's some good catches in this show.
Okay,
it's worth checking out. And then the episode following that's going to be the Freight House at the ballpark, Great Nevada Field Ballpark.
Okay,
both of those are good. Both of those are good episodes.
Now, what would be an interesting place where I'd like to see you guys go to is because, I did basically a Southern radio promotional tour for when I had my last album released, and one of my stops was in Charlottesville, North Carolina. And there, I went to they still have it there now, and I don't think any paranormal investigator's ever been there, but the original, basically, trading market where the slaves were brought into the country. And I always wondered what kind of paranormal, because I got a weird
Probably
vibe
a
off
lot.
of that one.
Yeah, plantations are big on activity.
So I'm kind of wondering, would you guys like to look into something like that, like the market in Charlottesville?
Absolutely, but you just announced
or Charleston, North Carolina.
Yeah,
or
I
South
would love to
Carolina,
do it,
sorry.
but you just announced it on the radio, so like 20 groups are going to be heading down there to go for it.
No, because I just sent them to the wrong state. So, well,
I would like to go to somewhere like that.
Absolutely.
Because like Jacksonville, of course, is one of the St. Augustine's right there. It was the
St. Augustine Lighthouse.
Well, that and the fort that's there too.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff that I grew up hanging around. I now thinking about it and having you guys in here, it's like, I wonder what kind of ghosts and stuff are hanging around there, because that's some history right there from like 1527 or whenever they put that fort in. But how do you guys deal with I'm sure they're out there because not everybody believes in ghosts. So you guys have to deal with a lot of skeptics. I mean, especially with going to like the Orr House or someplace like that, you got the public around you, right? Do you guys catch a lot of flack from people, or how do you deal with like skeptics?
Never really. I mean, like for example, like Virginia City, you can just go walk down that boardwalk and just talk to the people that own the buildings and see, you guys have any stories? You'll have a lot of buildings that look cool and they're just not haunted, so like, that and like just being in the state, I've been doing this for about 10 years. I know where the good stuff is in the state, and where we're going to get some good activity. There's been a couple new places like 100 Sierra Street, Ace's Ballpark.
Now, he was a skeptic at first. The guys from there, they were skeptics. He didn't believe in it, didn't follow it, didn't think it was real. And then so what we did was
So who was that? The owner of the ball field, or
no? This is for Dark Pursuits of down there.
Okay.
He came into it as a skeptic, and then when we said, "Well, why don't you come with us?"
Well, if he was a skeptic and he owned the place, how did you guys get involved to actually look into it?
We went to them and said, "Hey, we think this building's got some history, and what can we come in there?" And they're like, "Okay." And at first he wasn't sure about it, but then after we took them with us, and then we can show you, we can make you a believer by that, because that's what I tell a lot of people. I do run into skeptics. They don't believe in it. They're like, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, why don't you come with us, and we'll catch this stuff right in front of you, and then show you the proof. And usually after that, and same with them, after they saw what we found, they're believers now.
Yeah, we're pretty thorough on our background checks on this stuff. We do a lot of work with the Reno PD and their records. The court commissioner of Washoe County. If there's a death there, we'll find it. Like that. But that will change a skeptic to be like, we have this record, this is how that person died. That might kind of open your mind a little bit. And, with the Dark Pursuit people, when we went in there, the biggest one was we had an EMF reader, which if there's a detection of an electromagnetic field, it'll light up and beep. And one of the guys is holding it in his hand. We start asking questions, and it starts beeping, and you're getting yes and no answers back. It's like, are you a man? Are you here? And like beep, 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 and just getting answers. And it would turn on and off on command. So everybody, their jaws drop, and it's like, whoa. So then backing it up, we go with the SB7, and you start getting answers on that too. Just kind of validates that you've got something going on there.
Well, that kind of makes me wonder right there. So who discovered that an EMF meter would pick up on paranormal activity? I mean, I've always kind of wondered that. It's like, how do you know that this equipment is doing what you want it to?
It's all theory, but like with an EMF reader, I can go around my street and I can just test it on the lamps. Anything like electrical, you'll see it go on and off. So if you're not near an electrical source, you probably have an electromagnetic force coming from an entity, and you're drawing that energy from it, and it'll light up, and you'll get good communication sometimes. It does not happen very often, but when you do, it's pretty substantial.
Okay. I know that like a lot of the shows like Ghost Hunters and stuff like that,
right.
Sometimes they get orbs.
Right.
We get orbs.
I never. What is an orb? Because I hear them say, "Oh, we got an orb," and I'm like, well, "What the hell is an orb?"
There's different kinds. Orbs are bad because like you have everybody with a cheap cell phone going on Facebook and like, look at this orb I caught of my grandma in my living room. It has a face in it. A lot of times when we get orbs, like we'll put it in there because like we'll see it with our eyes. So there's different kinds where you'll just get it on a full spectrum or an infrared camera. There's sometimes where you'll see it with your eyes and it's an actual light anomaly. Those are a little more like, whoa, because you're seeing it with your eyes, you're getting the reaction with the colorful words, and you get it on camera. So
what do you think that is? It's like an energy?
Yes, I think it's the actual spirit, and that's how they're manifesting themselves with what they have in their environment.
Okay.
And a lot of times, we'll get like an orb going into our SB7 or out of the SB7 right as we're getting an answer.
Apparently somebody doesn't like our conversation.
That
was more than the lights. My screen went a little dim for a second too.
See, and that's what
their way of saying stop it.
Yeah,
go home, leave us alone.
I think that these are energy spirits. Anyway, that's what I kind of believe. This is actual energy. So that would make sense to me that you could pick it up on something that's a reading energy, or see it in that content if that's what it is.
What I would tell people who don't believe, come with us and you'll see. You'll feel it.
We have plenty of places that we can take you to scare you.
And that's what we're going to do, right? Soon. We're going to have...
Ghost tours.
Tours.
Well, that's one that we're going to do. Next week, you can tell your guests that you're going to be, broadcasting live from Belmont, and we'll make you a full believer on that one.
Next week? Sunday night?
Yeah. Piece of cake.
Well, next week my guest is James Weldon. He's a horror director, and he does Dead Dollies on TV network. So I'm sure it'd be something that he would be interested in, that's for sure.
But yeah, that's absolutely, for skeptics, it'd be like, come along. I know places I can take you that will make you a believer. You at least start questioning what is going on here. Your guess is as good as mine, what's happening, paranormal activity, but I am absolutely 100% convinced that there is something there. We just don't know exactly what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always kind of curious, how the technology that we have. Obviously we're dealing with, I wouldn't go into saying, this isn't like a, Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie here. We're not going to get into extra dimensional, great
UFOs,
people or any of that crap. But I always kind of curious. I always wondered, what kind of realm a spirit would actually exist in to have it kind of, because it has to be, it can't be like on the same plane and really of existence as we are, or else it'd be more common. It'd be easier to spot, and by listening to the way you guys describe it with them absorbing in and having to pull in energy to make any kind of contact with us, it makes me kind of wonder if it's kind of like an interdimensional type of thing, or anything like that.
Absolutely. Like one of the pieces of equipment that we have is an SB7, and what it is just a radio scanner that will scan channels like 100 per minute, 200 per minute, 300 per minute. On our last investigation, we were going at 300 channel scans per minute. So it's like going really fast. And we were going in reverse. And we got a full sentence of a female saying, "Hi, how are you?" So, like, how is that possible going in reverse that's going to make a full sentence?
Yeah, same with, we did, when we did Callahan,
Yes.
Callahan Ranch, and we, which is an old ranch from here, we asked the question, what year is it? And it on that same thing answered back 1945. Which was
In reverse?
Yeah,
it was,
going in reverse and it answered.
you could hear it 19. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It was
Bang.
definitely one of the better catches I think we had up there.
Richard got voices talking to him, too, that we caught on just our camera's audio, of like a man talking to him, which was really odd.
Mm-hmm. We've had him answer. We did with Truckee.
Yeah.
The whole how creepy.
Oh, yeah.
So we're in a room back in this old building, and we walk in, and it's just Ted and I, and we're talking, and we're saying something about this place is kind of creepy, and Ted says it is creepy, and then sure enough, a few minutes later,
deep dark voice.
How creepy?
Yeah, yeah.
Clear as day.
That was.
It had like an echo to it. It's like how
That was
creepy.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was next level.
So, do you guys think any of this ever plays into like? I know we're talking about ghosts and paranormal activity, but kind of going a little step further in like demonology or anything like that. I mean, do you guys think that might exist at all, or is there any evidence to differentiate the two between just?
I think some of it's
phantasms and demons.
We had this discussion with Golden, Oregon. Because again, you're talking about ghost adventures. They were claiming demonic activity and like, sharp pains in my stomach and all stuff. But it's like I've done this place so many times, and like three trips ago, the place was just completely vandalized inside of there. Is it demonic? Is that possible? Absolutely, but you could be a pissed off spirit and attack somebody, and it's not necessarily demonic. If that was your house and somebody had vandalized it, you probably would not want people to be there too.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm very careful to just automatically hit the demon button on it.
So how do you think we could tell, like, if it's just a ghost or a demon?
How can we tell if it's a ghost? Asking questions. Sometimes you never know, and that's part of the curiosity.
I definitely think you run the risk when you do this. That
Yes.
you start getting into some of that stuff, and especially there's a lot of people out there that don't think we should be doing what we're doing because of that stuff. They we're poking the wrong thing.
Well, I don't know, because if you're proving the existence of something, I mean, even if you can prove the existence of a demon, I'll be the first one in church tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you're saying you don't believe it?
I am saying that I reserved skepticism about demonology and demons and stuff like that. But ghosts, because of personal experience, I have a little bit more.
You're agnostic.
I don't think that. Well, one, I mean, I think if you have the willingness to believe in ghosts, then you should probably have the willingness to believe in the possibility of demons. There's my quotes again. But I don't know if it's so much like what you would picture from the movies. The movies make us think and that kind of stuff. I think. But
well, so it was my first joke about the first thing out of my mouth when watching one of those movies is like, like The Omen or anything like that. It's like, why isn't that person going into church right now?
That would absolutely.
That'd be the first thing that I would do is get out of the house and go to a church.
Well, but that is Hollywood, though. I mean, it's different than what we're actually doing. Where, I'm sure there's cases where we can go in place, but I'd be the same way if I felt my house had like a demon in it. I'd be out of there. That place would be up on the market tomorrow. But that's not the way the movies are going to play it out.
Well, but with selling your house, you have to get full disclosure. So would you put that on the disclosure that it's haunted by a demon? Sorry,
No, because I don't think you could prove.
But we still want full price.
But I think that's possible. I think if there's spirits, there's ghosts. There's probably more to what we think. But that's just the way I believe. I mean, this could just be energies left over that we're picking up. The same way they say like radio frequencies and things when they go out in the air, they're always there, right? Like you can. They broadcast like a long way away or something like that. Or am I talking crazy? You guys know what I'm talking about?
I think you're crazy.
It's not like we could pick up the spaceship or something like that, right? Like
the frequency signals from like different galaxies and stuff like that. One that NASA's been monitoring that they had a constant signal from for like the last 10 years or something like that.
Yeah. So if these spirits are just, if this is all energy, maybe it's just leftover stuff that we're catching. I think that's possible. But I think there's more to it than that. I think there's something there, which would lead me to believe there's demons and more stuff like that.
You're going to talk about UFOs and ghosts. You're going to need an extra hour in the show.
Yeah, I know. I need a 6-hour program like a Coast to Coast AM. Then, no, I'm not going to talk about aliens. But I always kind of, people sometimes don't really differentiate between ghosts and demons, and they think it's all the same kind of minutia.
Some people think it's
fine with that.
It's all demons.
I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially how they make you feel. I think, like he said, if it's an angry spirit, he's going to try to hurt you, but the way he's going to hurt you is different than if a demon's trying to hurt you.
Well, because a demon that is their basically their whole thing, right?
I just think demons are not going to try to hurt you for no reason. They have a purpose.
True.
And I think 95% of the time they're trying to get over your body, like take control. I think it's different than, I die, I'm angry, and I'm going to try to hurt you. I think it's different. So the way they make you feel is different.
Because if I died, I'd totally haunt people.
You haunt the movie theaters, the people watching Dora the Explorer.
I'd find, there's some other movies, trust me, that are just as bad, like the Jumanji movies. I hated those things, too. Those look like garbage. But
so now we know.
You're getting all angry. Don't get angry.
No.
Jumanji sucks.
It's not like you made the movie.
Well,
I mean,
now we know what you're going to do when you die.
That's true.
You have a purpose.
I do.
That's
I really
your purpose.
do. To make people miserable.
I love skeptics. Those are the best people to have come along in an investigation, because you're going to approach it from a whole other perspective that I love. So, I mean, yeah, we love investigating with skeptics and having them come along, because if you can walk into the creepy, freaky deaky building and approach it with a level head, more power to you. Please come along.
Yeah.
Any appearances coming up? And actually, that'll be something we'll get to right after this last break. There's only 20 minutes of show left. And so the phone lines are open, 775-515-4141. If you have any questions for Paranormal Nevada, the TV show that is on Channel 2 here in Reno, 11:35 p.m. on Saturdays. And they also have all their episodes up on the YouTube. Not enough subscribers yet to be a specific YouTube channel, though, right? It's just like that long, weird...
Paranormal NV.
Oh, okay.
Paranormal, yeah.
Just do a search for Paranormal NV, and we will be right back with more.
Carson Tahoe Health provides free use of the Adams House to KNVC 95.1 for broadcast studio space and to the Brewery Arts Center for art therapy classes. Carson Tahoe Health, encouraging health and well-being for all members of the community through arts and culture. For more information on Carson Tahoe Health facilities, services, and providers, go to www.carsontahoe.org or call 775-445-8000.
You tell us you love the variety of music and news programs you hear on KNVC. Music no one else is playing, and news programs no one else is carrying. Donate now, securely online, at knvc.org.
I'm Bill Mott, and I'm asking you to join me every Friday morning here on KNVC 95.1 FM from 5 to 8 for Bill's Banter and Beats. I'll bring you some news, some traffic and weather, an interview now and then, sporadic fishing reports to get you up to speed for the weekend, plus lots of great music from around the country and around the world. Bill's Banter and Beats, Friday mornings 5 to 8 on KNVC 95.1 FM.
This is KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City.
The voice of your community.
And welcome back to Pop Culture Kaboom's radio show on 95.1 FM KNVC in the greater Carson City / Reno area, and live stream to the world at knvc.org. So if you have any questions for Paranormal Nevada, there's only 15 minutes of the show left, so now is your chance to speak with them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you have a story that you'd like to share with us, come on, share with the class.
We want to hear it. Give us a call.
Yeah, like I shared earlier. If you weren't here to hear it, then oh well. So anyway, since you guys are on to television, let me cover some television that is going on real quick. And what is worth watching on television the week of Sunday, August 25th, that is today, after 9 p.m. to Sunday, September 1st, before 6 p.m., at least deemed it by me, which means that it has to be considered new to either a network in terms of a movie or original programming, and they must also fall into the categories of action, adventure, science fiction, horror, anime, and or fantasy. Sometimes I'll let a reality show slide in there. If it is something I think is worth watching, like about aliens or the supernatural or good science stuff. With that being said, here's what I think is worth watching on the television for this week. Starting tonight at 9 p.m. on AMC. Are you guys big TV watchers at all? I know you're on TV.
I love TV.
Okay. If I'm missing anything, please go ahead or if I hit on something, just raise your hand and we'll talk about it. On tonight at 9 p.m. on AMC is Fear the Walking Dead. At 10 p.m. on AMC is Preacher. On Cartoon Network is American Dad. And on Channel 193, if you have Charter, is Creature Features. On Monday, August 26th at 8 p.m. on the Comedy Channel, what a weird one, MTV, Nick Parr, TV Land, and VH1 is the 2019 MTV Music Video Awards. On USA is WWE Monday Night Raw. At 9 p.m. on AMC is The Terror. Have you guys seen that one at all?
No, and it's killing me. It looks awesome.
So the first season was about some ship that goes to trying to find its way through the Arctic Circle, find a new shipping route. And so it's like 18-something or other, and it's just weird. I mean,
Did you like it?
I watched like 4 episodes of it, and it just did not progress into like whatever it was going to progress into.
Is it more like a mental game or something? Because I kind of got that vibe from it.
I have no idea what it was trying to do, quite honestly. It didn't get far enough. It didn't develop quick enough for me to, after 4 episodes, for me to like it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I really don't care about a bunch of people who are going to get scurvy out in the Arctic, but this one actually looks interesting because I guess it's taking place during the Japanese internment camps in the U.S. and some haunting spirit that is, Japanese folklore, and so these things that look like they're from The Ring. Remember that? You ever see that movie? Yeah. It looks like something like that is going on in these in this internment camp. So, which is kind of weird because you think with you'd have some kind of PTSD about it, but I guess George Takei is in it as well. So, and he was actually interned in one of these Japanese camps during World War II. So you think kind of weird that maybe he got enough therapy that he can handle it. I don't know.
Or it is his therapy, yeah.
That too. At 10 p.m. on AMC is Lodge 49, another kind of weird, supernaturally kind of show that I never watched. On TBS is American Dad at 11:30 p.m. On Cartoon Network is Final Space. On Tuesday, August 27th at 8 p.m. on CW is Pandora. And on USA is WWE SmackDown. At 9 p.m. on the CW is Mysteries Decoded. On Wednesday, August 28th, there is absolutely nothing on. So Thursday, August 29th at 8 p.m. on the CW is The Post. On the Cartoon Network, again, is American Dad. At 9 p.m. on the CW is Two Sentence Horror Stories. At 11:15 p.m. on Sci-Fi Channel is Hardcore Henry, which was a blah for me. Do you know what movie I'm talking about with Hardcore Henry?
No. We're shaking our heads now.
Okay. Do you guys play video games?
Yes.
Okay. You ever play Doom?
Yes, I played Doom.
It's kind of like Doom, but it's a movie, and so the whole movie is from the guy's perspective as he does all this John Wick type stuff, and then the end villain, and it plays out like a video game all the way through. And so it's just, I thought it was just, and it's gory as all get out.
I like gory, so that works for me.
So I thought it was an awesome movie. I give it a blah. So if you're up at 11:15 on Thursday, August 29th, Hardcore Henry. On Friday, August 30th at 6 p.m. on the Discovery Channel is BattleBots. And then again at 7 p.m., another BattleBots. And then at 8 p.m. also is BattleBots, but this isn't a 2-hour episode. On the History Channel is Ancient Aliens Declassified. At 9 p.m. on the History Channel is Ancient Aliens. At 10 p.m. on the Sci-Fi Channel is Killjoys, and remember, this is their last season. On TNT is All Elite Wrestling. On Saturday, August 31st at 10 p.m. on Channel 193 is Creature Features. At 11 p.m. on the Cartoon Network is Dragon Ball Super. At 11:30 p.m. on Cartoon Network is Genlock. At 11:35 p.m. on Channel 2 is Paranormal Nevada.
That's the one to watch.
That's
for
us.
Yeah.
You better watch.
On
That is
Sundays,
great programming there.
Yeah, give them a call and let them know. Actually, if you do live in the area, get a hold of Channel 2 and let them know what you think about Paranormal Nevada. So on Sunday, September 1st at 12 midnight on the Cartoon Network is Dr. Stone. At 12:30 a.m. on Cartoon Network is Fire Force. At 1 a.m. on Cartoon Network is Food Wars. At 1:30 a.m. on Cartoon Network is Black Clover. At 2:30 a.m. on Cartoon Network is Naruto Shippuden. At 3 a.m., yes, 3 a.m., I hope you're drinking coffee. At Cartoon Network is Mobile Suit Gundam Origins. And at 3:30 a.m. on the Cartoon Network is Lupin the Third Part 5. And that is what is worth watching on the TV for this coming week. So, did I miss anything?
No. You guys better watch us.
Quality programming.
Or else you'll haunt them?
I will. That's going to be my purpose when I die.
You should get a shirt made up saying that, watch the show or I'll haunt you.
What is up with The Walking Dead getting rid of Rick? Why?
I don't know. Did you watch that episode?
Yeah, but I'm just done, man. It's like I actually like Negan. But it's like
No
once you get rid of like Glenn, and then we've gotten rid of so many people. It's like, why?
Well, Glenn, I knew was going to happen. It was kind of like watching Avengers Endgame or actually Avengers Infinity War. You haven't watched it, so never mind.
No.
I know, but I love the guy, man.
But I read the comic book, so I know that what was going to happen.
I don't, and I did, and it was heartbreaking.
I read that was
really?
my first book series that I read through for I guess comics was The Walking Dead.
Really?
Yep.
Awesome.
And I loved it. A friend at work, he turned me onto it.
So what do you think about how Robert Kirkman ended the series?
In the book series?
Yeah.
I haven't finished it, so I'm going to tell you. But I've read the first parts of it, which I liked.
So you're getting the graphic novels where it's kind of collecting all the issues together?
Yeah.
Okay, you're safe. But he ended the actual comic book at issue number 193 about... hey, Bill, how long ago was that? About 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, yeah. And that particular comic book, because what he did was comic books generally come out on a Wednesday. And so Tuesday, he said, I'm not making any more. So the retailers couldn't order more because they didn't. And usually when something ends or it looks like it's going to end, retailers will grab up as many as they possibly can to have on the shelves because they know collectors will come in and buy like 5-10 of them. So it's a great boon for the retailers. But Robert Kirkman didn't do that. I'll surprise everybody and announces on a Tuesday. So when the comic came out on Wednesday, it was just whatever the retailers had out on the shelves.
Will that drive then the prices of those ones up?
In the secondary market, yeah, because it sold out everywhere.
Exactly. He's like, I've made so much money, I'm done.
No, he didn't, because if he wanted to make money off of that, he would have announced it like a month beforehand. Yeah, 193 is going to be the last one, and that way retailers would have just.
But all the money he's made, like from the TV, he's getting a royalty on that. He's he's. No more effort needed. Okay.
So, but now, like in the secondary market, because 3 weeks now, I think it's up to like $125 is the value on that comic book. So if you would have gotten it right when it came out, or one of the few that actually got it when it was right when it came out on the shelves, then you'd make some money off of it.
Yeah.
Man, I blew it on all that stuff. I had all the toys when I was a kid and stuff, and I should have kept them.
I did. So I got I was when we went into break. I don't think it came over the air, but I have like 14 totes or 50-gallon totes of action figures that I have.
Them?
Yeah, they're up in my attic. Yeah, unopened.
Oh, dude, we're robbing him after the show.
And I also have 7 long boxes of comic books, and that I because when I was a kid, about like, I don't know, 16, 17, I wanted to open my own comic book store. And so I wanted toys and comic books and cards. So I put a lot of money. I was working at a comic book store, and back then comic books were about $1.25 at the most. 75 cents was about average. I was spending, with my employee discount, about $90 a week on comic books.
Oh. How much were you making at the comic book store to even be doing that, man? Holy cow.
Yeah, I was making pretty good money, but so.
Sounds great.
But, you know.
I'm out, guys. I quit. I'm going into the comic
You're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like doing the stock market, though. You got to pick the right winners. So a lot of them are not the right winners. But
oh, dude, I had so many like Star Wars figures, and of course my mom threw them all out.
Really?
Thanks, Mom.
I had He-Man. I had a ton of He-Man figures, the castle.
Millennial Falcon and stuff. Like, that'd be worth bank, man. She's like, no, you're going to college, throwing it away.
Scout Walker. I still have an AT-AT, actually.
Yeah.
I still have one of those. Not in a box, but it's out of the box because I'm like, screw this. I'm playing with that.
Well, even like the micro machines, those are worth bank, man. She's like, no, throw them out.
Hot Wheels, yeah, all that stuff.
I do have a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
But they're all open.
You still play with them when you get bored.
I do.
Investigations.
I do. That's
Hot
you should
Wheels.
line them all up, like have like ghost races and stuff. See if any of the spirits move.
We actually do use stuff like that on investigations, especially if there's a child involved.
Really?
Yeah, use a toy on there, see if it moves.
Like a child, as in like a live child or a ghost child?
Hey, I'm 43. If I were a ghost and you put a Hot Wheel down there, I'm playing with it.
Oh, me too, man.
Yeah.
That thing's going across up the walls. That's going
everywhere. And there you go. Demonic! It's crazy.
So, but yeah, so that was one of the things. And since I got a couple of minutes there, I might be able to run through this. There's a ton of comic books released this week. So here are some of the comic books that are being released this week. Each week, at least here, I highlight only the number one issues and or major story or anniversary issues that are being released during the week, because those are the ones that have the most value interest from collectors and investors. If you'd like the full list of comic books coming out this week, please subscribe to Pop Culture Kaboom's YouTube channel. Now, to keep this list to a minimum, I do not include in it trade paperbacks like the ones you were talking about, graphic novel collections, hardcover, softcover volumes, or reprints. And first up from Aardvark Vanum is Tales of Sophistication #1 one-shot from Antarctic Press. Barack Panther, Barack in Black. They did a Barack Obama comic book where he's like the Black Panther.
Yes.
So, Exciting Comics, Extravaganza #1 one-shot. William the Last Shadows of the Crown #1 from Avatar Press. Crimson Nun #1, which is a commemorative 20-year-old variant. So they had the Avatar Press has a lot of comic books. They were #1s they're releasing that are basically commemorating their 20 years in the comic book industry. They also have Crossed Badlands #100 coming out this week with 9 cover variants. Lilith #1, which is a 20-year-old cover commemorative variant. Razor #1, which is a Warrior Nun commemorative 20-year variant. Shotgun Mary #1, which is a Bloodlore commemorative 30-year variant. And Stitched Terror #1. Warrior Nun #1, which is a 1997 commemorative cover from Boom Studios. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Chosen Ones #1 3 cover variant. From Boundless Comics, Belladonna #0, Belladonna #1 with 3 cover variants. Ember #00, Helia Scythe #1 with 3 cover variants. Jungle Fantasy Ivory #1 with 5 cover variants. And it's getting pretty late in the hour here, so let me just jump ahead a little bit. From IDW Publishing, DuckTales Silence and Science #1 of 3 with 3 cover variants. From Image Comics, here's one little investment advice. From Image Comics, Spawn #299. Now, this is the second print. This is the only time you'll ever hear me mention a second printing book on the show, because next month is Spawn #300. So, very big issue.
So, would the 300 be the one to buy, or the 299?
The 299, it depends on the story. Because sometimes... Oh, that means it's time to go. Sometimes with the way they do things, that the issue beforehand, depending on the storyline, has something to come up every now and then that may be make it more valuable than the actual 300 issue. Anyway, a big thank you to all of you for tuning in, no matter where you live. I truly appreciate it. If you are an independent comic book creator, filmmaker, television showrunner, writer in any field, game company or game creator, toy company involved in a theater production, burlesque company, a con organizer, or a band with a flair for the theatrical, let me know what you have going on by contacting me through Pop Culture Kaboom's Facebook page so that I can have you on the show, or at the very least present your projects to my listening audience. Tune in next week for more information and stuff that is coming out for the coming week. I did not get getting close to doing any of it this week. My special guest next week will be the man behind Dead Dollies, actor, filmmaker, producer, writer, and all-around horror guru, Mr. James Weldon. We will be talking all things horror, and since this show is September 1st, I will be finally giving away those advanced screening tickets for It Chapter 2. We will also get Mr. Weldon's thoughts about the Stephen King remake. It'll be a fun and entertaining and informative conversation, to say the least. So, until next week, from Bill, Tony, 95.1 FM KNVC, and I, and Paranormal Nevada. Don't forget to check them out next Saturday at 11:35 p.m. on Channel 2 in Reno. And if you don't live in Reno, go check them out on the YouTube and check out all of the previous episodes from this season. There's only 3 more episodes left. And follow them on the Facebook. If you don't, I do, so that every time that they post something, I repost it in the Pop Culture Kaboom newsfeed. So until next week, from Bill, Tony, 95.1 FM KNVC, and I, be safe, and peace out, Wabbits.
You are listening to KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City.
KNVC 95.1 FM, Carson City, Nevada.
KNVC is supported by Sierra Nevada Hybrid. Sierra Nevada Hybrid is Northern Nevada's only AC/DC hybrid certified repair facility, specializing in service and repair for Prius, hybrids, and EV automobiles by ASE master technicians, including mobile service. For more information, call 775-378-8397.
Exercise.